All right, looks like we're recording. Hey, everybody out there, this is Sam Dennehy, aka Halfass Customs, and this is Halfass Presents Podcast. We are here with Tom Hart as our special guest today. And Tom, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in the hobby?
Hey guys, I'm Tom Hart. I got into this hobby when I was younger. I think when I was about like 12 or 13, my parents and me were on vacation and I went to a little hobby shop, and in there they had a model train set, and that really sparked my interest. It started with trains, and I'd say I got into going to Springfield, the big model train show each year, and I really liked the vehicles, the vehicle club there, and eventually I started buying the vehicles because you can buy one boxcar or you could buy at that time 2 Athearn trucks for the same price. Not the nice ones, but the kits, like the Freightliner kits. And I kept growing from there and there and there. And next thing you know, where are my trains anymore? So, yeah.
That's cool. What time frame in your life do you think that was? Like how long you've been into the hobby?
I'd say, so I'm 19 now, and that was when I was like 12 or 13. So it's only, compared to how long some people are in, it's only a little bit, but it's just beginning for me. So, it's only, it's only been a couple of years, really.
Well, you've been in this scale hobby longer than me, so good for you.
Feels more big for me, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been modeling for 30 years, but that's just been different scales, and it's always been cars, though. I've never modeled trains. So you got the trains over me, too. So with your modeling and your vehicles, what do you think you're more drawn to in this scale hobby? Like what kind of vehicles would you say?
So I like everything. I'm not like a guy that goes towards one certain thing. If I grow up to a train show and I see, HO scale vehicles, it doesn't matter if they're cars or trucks. I probably have 50-50 of each. Right now, I tend to build a lot of fire trucks. Right here, for example, is a fire truck that I'm working on right now, tiller. But, like my desk right here, I have 2 cars on them and I think 4 fire trucks. I'm not quite sure why I have so many at the current moment. But in general right now, I'd say that's a little bit of everything.
That's cool, man. Well, what I can tell from you is seeing you at the shows and seeing what you post. I mean, I'm not gonna try to say that your modeling is all done by quantity, a lot like mine is. I have too many that I build too quick, and yours seem to be more detailed, more thought. You put a lot of thought in it, like your wrecked Caprice or whatever that car is. You actually broke pieces of the windshield and you've dented the doors or whatever you did, and you have dented frames, and you can see like a lot of detail, and that's pretty amazing because most people won't go that far.
Thank you. That technique I actually learned from Mike. I watched his. I'm not sure if it was on What's Neat this week or if it was on his on the Facebook, but I saw his technique where he took the aluminum foil and bent it. So what I did was took the Crown Victoria and I took it apart basically, and I had another one where I could match the metal to, and then I cut it to the right size, put it on the other Crown Vic, and then bent it. So yeah, I try to put a lot of detail into the models. It takes a while. Sometimes I feel, is it really worth it, or should I just buy the ones that are already built? But I mean, it's always fun to build.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that your attention to detail in almost all your models are really, really well done, especially for your age, because most young adults aren't putting nearly that much detail in their cars. They're just trying to build the car to begin with, not try to make it look real or add every little thing you possibly can into it. And I admire that a lot, because especially for this scale, especially for what you choose to detail, it's really amazing.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it. The time and detail takes a while, but it's not just kids now. I think a lot of people join this hobby as adults, so we will be seeing a lot more people come in later. It's not just the future. A lot of people say the future of the hobby is kids, but it's really as they grow into adults, they become more interested. That's at least in my opinion, from what I've seen.
No, that's a very good opinion, because I think that's exactly right. It's once you go from being a kid to a young adult to an actual adult, you find that what you used to be into, what your passions were, do change. And if you just need something to take your mind off of stuff, the hobby world, compared to say gaming or electronics or whatever, can definitely do that. And you don't realize that until you start to grow up a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not, I don't have too many video games myself, but definitely think it's cool. But you know, I'm not going to diss another hobby. But yeah, I think as people grow older, you know, they kind of switch up, you know, different hobbies and whatnot. But yeah,
So I've got to ask, on the 187 scale Facebook group that we're all in, there was a contest, I think it was 2 years ago, where you built this unbelievable rig that had everything that looked like it could possibly really work in real life. And I believe you won that competition, that build off with that. How, why did you choose to build that? And what possessed you to detail it to make it look like everything on there really worked?
so I I think the type of are you talking about the orange wrecker?
I honestly, top of my head, I just remember you won and you built this unbelievable. I think it's a wrecker. I just don't remember what color it is.
Okay,
I think
so
it had two sway arms or something.
yeah, yeah. So the orange wrecker, that one was inspired by a tunnel tow truck, and the tunnel tow trucks are just kind of neat little vehicles because they're, you know, they're smaller than your car, but they're, you know, they're a tow truck. And you know they have that narrow turning radius, so they can turn around tunnels. And Brian, he is also in our uh, Facebook page. He builds a lot of those tow trucks, and I thought, oh, that would be cool to build. So I found one online, uh, or I found a few pictures on Google Images of the tow truck, and I'm like, that would be really cool to build. So you know, I got the kit, and then the problem was that I couldn't get the other side of the wrecker. So I went on another Facebook page, which is American Truckers Historical Society, and I asked them, does anybody have pictures? And nobody sadly had pictures, but one guy said, this truck is for sale 2 miles from my house. I'll go get you some.
Oh wow.
So I was actually able to go get some, but that's what really inspired me. But and then the detail for it, I try to make my models as detailed as possible. I feel like that while you can over detail, but if you try to detail, if you try to have the parts the same size as, you know, the real life one, as you know, for scaling, it looks nice. But if they're a little too big, you start to notice it's a little off. Uh, yeah, I think for me at least, I try to put in as much detail as I can. But yeah,
Well, you definitely did a good job. I mean, you won the build off, which was pretty cool. I mean, and that's what's really cool is not just that you built it and you put all that detail into it, that peers and older people alike noticed how well that was built and all agreed because it was all done by likes, I think. I think that the most likes won. And everybody liked that, which is just awesome. And it's not just awesome that you built it, it's awesome because of your age that you built it for your age. I mean, like I said just minutes ago, most kids aren't doing this. And not that you're a kid, you're a young adult. And even I think when you built that, you can kind of say you're a younger adult because you are more mature than some kids or some young adults at that age. Um, when
so you don't
you're doing
talk about your
modeling.
own children on here.
uh, so it's really cool that we all saw that and we all agreed that that was definitely worth winning. So that's cool, man. I hope
Thank
I
you so
hope
much.
we do another one and maybe you can pull off another win.
I really liked your the slammed low rider pickup truck you did on the
Yeah,
first one. That was awesome.
yeah, I liked it too. Funny though, it's so funny, and I knew when I joined that competition that I was gonna be the oddball. It was gonna look shiny and neat, but it wasn't gonna be nowhere close to what everybody else was probably gonna venture down, and it wasn't. I mean, honestly, and I'm not mad about it. It did get the uh, lowest amount of likes, but I didn't care because I knew what I was going to do anyways. I knew it before the competition started. I knew eventually I was going to do a truck like that. So I was just glad that for one, it made it into the gallery, the 187 scale club gallery, as a competition truck. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Hey, you can't be that person who just goes with the crowd. You know what I mean? Everybody does that. You got to go against it, you know? And that's what you did. And I think that worked, you know. I really liked it myself personally.
Yeah, well, I never go with the crowd. Even with my big rigs. Hey, build a big rig. Okay, I'll build it my way. That's funny you say that though, because Robert Kelly, that's who it is. I screwed up that name last night or the other night on an interview, but I had to make up for it at the end of the interview. Robert Kelly said I need to build a crane, and I said, don't tempt me, because if I build it, it's going to be my way. It's going to have like some kind of special rims on it with some kind of candy paint job. The peers are going to hate it, but we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah, the Kelly family built some cool stuff. You know, the father and son are both together. They
Yeah.
build models together. Yeah, they have some really nice cranes in my opinion. But I'm tempted to see what you would do with the crane. I mean, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, you and me both. I I don't think anything's going to move. It'll just be a static model, but I'm going to ruin it. I'll make it my own.
I tried to scratch build a crane a while ago. Let me tell you, it stays static.
Right. When they're on the peak of having everything move and work correctly, yeah, that's not going to be me. It'll just look different. That's all.
It's hard to do.
Oh, I'm sure. Um, so when you're building, how long do you think your build process takes, or does it kind of vary on model? Seeing that you put all that time and effort into detail, I'm sure it's not quick, but what do you think the time frames are, or are they just all completely varying from model to model?
It's too long. That's all I know. It's too long. That little wrecker, I mean, I probably put in over 20 hours on that. And
Wow.
then this truck, which I'm scratch building, which I showed you before on my desk, I've been scratch building that on and off for 2 years. But
Oh, geez.
well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I 2 years ago at Springfield, I bought the cab. I started scratch building it for a couple months, and then I just kind of put it away on my desk and never touched it again until 2 months ago. You know how it
That
is.
happens.
Projects, yeah, get sidelined a lot of the time.
Yeah, I had that I don't know if you saw it, but it was at Springfield, but the Cadillac ambulance before it turned into the Ecto, I built that out of two Allied Form 59 two-door Cadillacs, and I chopped it and hacked it up and did so many things to it that when I got the body right and the roof on, I just stopped working on it completely. And I think that's because Shapeway came out with theirs that I've been using over and over and again for the Ghostbusters cars. So I said, well, what do I need to keep going with this one if Shapeway has their own version? Um, and then it took like, I think 3-4 years for me to finally get back to it. I was like, well, I've got to build it. I'm already this far. So yeah, I was kind of on the same boat of just putting it in the drawer and not touching it again for too long.
I have, I think, oh, I have a. I'll show the camera here so the people can see. I have a few drawers here. Most of them are parts drawers, but sadly, for the most part, I'd say like at least like 10 of them are just filled with products that I've just kind of left behind. But on the note of the Springfield train show of trains, I saw that you were building that train for. I'm not. Well, it's for a diorama of the Back to the Future.
Oh
How's that
yeah.
going?
Oh, it's done. You hadn't seen those pictures yet?
Oh no, I
Let
haven't.
me let me just show you. Yeah, the whole car's done. The car's done, although I don't have the car on the track because I was doing something with it, but let me turn this camera around. So, did the camera freeze? Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Well, the lighting's horrible, but I wonder if there's a flash on this. Can I turn a flash on? No, I don't think there's a flash on the Zoom. Anyways,
I can see it.
yeah, it's all done. You've got that push tire rack in the front, and then it's all painted correct. So it's too dark, but it's done. And it's I built it as a dummy engine, so you can just push it with your finger, because the regular engine, the knobs and everything to work it had a cover that came out way past the cab, and I didn't like that, so I sunk it all the way into about right here,
Was that
as it would be in the real train. So I had to take the engine out for that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's done. And then I have the hot rod train right there as well.
Well, that's neat. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. I've never seen
So,
someone do something like that before.
and you probably never will. I'm the only crazy one to do that so far.
Anything else? Other cool projects you're building currently? That was the main one that I know because I saw it on I think I'm not sure if it was on Facebook or What's Neat this week, but
Yeah, I have it in a different room, but I'm building the ultimate car garage. I don't know if you saw that. It's like a 3-story walls, big, huge 2.5-story windows, and it's gonna be big. I've got marble floors on it because I'm very bougie.
from Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I'm building. It's not a replica, but I'm using the same floor design and the
Huh,
office space design to build my own version of it.
I gotcha. I'm planning on in the works at least. I have a GTA 4 police car, but I just need the decals for it. So I'm not quite sure who
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
through for decals, but I'll figure
yeah.
it
And then
out.
there's another guy building a taco truck, a food
Oh,
truck.
Jason.
Yeah, from the Grand Theft Auto. So to have yours, to have that taco truck, and then have that diorama garage,
Yeah,
all
that
on
would
the
be cool.
same set, that would be neat.
Definitely. Springfield 2021 if it happens.
Right. Yeah. Well, it hopefully it should. Although I do hear that more and more fall organizations like model car shows, real car shows, other things like that are starting to get canceled too.
Yeah, I'm in a model.
So I'm hoping that Springfield. I well, I'm not hoping it happens. I'm only hoping that everything that's happening clears up so that can happen. But
Definitely.
if it doesn't clear up, then yeah, definitely let's not push that show and to have everybody get sick from it. Let's just postpone it once this is all clear. But hopefully this clears up quick, although it
Spe-
doesn't seem like it is.
Speaking of model clubs, I'm in a model club right now. They mostly do 125th scale cars, but they're quite impressed by the small scale that I do. They're all a little bit confused, but they like it. But tell me about your 125th scale cars.
Well, you're turning this interview over on me. All
So
right.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, why don't I show you? Because they're all I'm in my model room and workspace. I had to work from home, so, but these are some of the models. This VW bus was built by my daughter and me. That was her first model, 125th scale. And then I've just recently built this Merc, or completed it. And then I've got other cars like this station wagon with the flames. This is based on a car that I had in real life, which is in a collage back there. A collage of pictures of the real car. So that's what this is based off of.
I like it.
63 Impala. And then I've
Is the
got,
is the pink one Loco 64?
no, I don't have that in 125th scale. That's just a 65 Impala that Mike Budd would love. But I made it into a lowrider just with the rims. Um,
Sorry, I couldn't quite tell.
yeah, and then this car here, let's see if we can get a good shot of it. This is a famous car from a video um, from Ice Cube called "Today Was a Good Day," and it's fully specced out with all this metal flake and everything. It's crazy metal flake, and if the sun was hitting it, it would blind you almost. And then back here, I put an MP3 speaker in there so you can actually listen to that song as you're looking at the car. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've got a lot more in a garage display case downstairs. But then there's another Ecto car that I turned into a custom sled. But that's the 125th scale, like my top of the top stuff. And then I've got like 164 diecast all up here just because I collect too much stuff.
Oh, me too. Me too. My bedroom's full of crap.
Yeah, that's usually how every bedroom should be. full of too much stuff. And then got the modules right there and displays everywhere, and have my 3D printer right there, which doesn't get used.
Too thick.
Um, Honestly, I think with some certain projects, it might not be too thick. The problem is you'll probably hear, I think you might have heard it on Williams' podcast I did, but my brain is, like, I'm 40 and I feel like my brain probably feels like it's 60 because I'm at the stage of my life where I just don't want to learn how to use it. I just want it to be so simple where you have the icon of your image and you select it, drag it to the printer, done, and it prints it out. I don't want to do no measurements. I don't want to do no loading onto an SD card. I don't want to do nothing. I want it to be that simple.
I've had one abandoned in the. I got it for Christmas 2 years ago. Still haven't got it up and running yet. So, yeah.
So you're in the same boat as I am.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think in the future that the printing will be that simple. So I'm probably just going to end up waiting till then. Because I want to take like everything on Shapeway that I see in 187 scale and just take that image, click it to the printer image, and then done. That's all I want to do.
That would be nice. And resin printers are especially coming out with better quality stuff. Mine isn't resin, sadly. But
Right, no, mine isn't either. Yeah, that'd be, I think once that technology is out there for that, then I'll get myself a resin printer and I'll never buy some from Shapeway again.
yeah, probably a smart choice. Or you come up with your own printer and painter like you're talking about.
Right, yeah, a printer painter all in one. God, that would be awesome.
I'll let you reflip the script on me so you can ask me more questions.
Yeah. So you're in I guess a bigger model car club. I'm in a bigger model car club. I'm the only one in my club of like 53 members or something that build anything smaller than the 125th, 124 scale. They all build that scale, and I show them a lot of 164 scales that I built and a lot, like way too many 187 scales. Has your club ever tried to join into your small scale, or are
So
you literally the only one doing it?
so I'd say we have like around 100 members, or I'd say like 50 to 100 members, but per club meeting, usually only about 30 show up. But there's one guy there who also does some HO scale, and then there's another guy there who does N scale.
Oh,
Uh,
geez.
yeah, but most of it is 125th and around that bigger scale, and some military kits.
Okay. Yeah, my club is kind of all around the world. We got a member in Japan, and I think a member in Holland or
Oh wow.
Finland or something. So we never meet up. We're just on Instagram and Facebook. That's our
Yeah.
meetings.
Ours is an in-person, but recently it's been in Zoom because of
Right. Hey, that's cool that I'm assuming that some of your members, if not a lot of your members, are older. And when I say older, probably older than me. So it's pretty cool that they use Zoom for their meetings because half of my half of my people I've contacted are too scared to try this because of Zoom and the technology behind it.
Yeah, I'm the youngest one in the club actually, but the members that do have children, their children have taught them how to use the Zoom. But
That's funny.
a lot of them still don't quite get it yet and haven't been joining us for the online meetings. But it's to be expected.
Yeah, and I'm hoping with as the more videos I post, that people will be able to see that it's just a casual
Oh yeah.
interview back and forth. And you can say what you want, don't say what you want, give as much information, don't give as much information, whatever, as you please. And then that might help them be more comfortable. And and not like a drilling into you, like, tell me, tell me, tell me kind of thing. So I'm hoping they see that, and then they'll want to join, because half of the people I've messaged, they're very leery about it.
Yeah, the most appalling thing that you've made me do today was turn my chair 90 degrees so it faced the camera.
Well,
Yeah, it's
good.
casual.
I'm glad it wasn't too bad for you. um, so I was talking to Rad the other night, um, and he was mentioning you a lot, telling me that you helped him with his modeling and his information on modeling quite a bit. And I think that's pretty cool. Although I also think it's kind of weird that you have this much knowledge about a area of information that you're not in. So what's up with the military info, buddy?
So let's see. He's probably talking about the Soviet truck that he wanted that I built him. Uh, I'm not sure where that really started. I think I just liked trucks from that area because they're all 6x6, and like, in the U.S. we don't have these like cool. Well, you do, but they're not factory made. You don't see a 6x6 truck every day. So
Right.
I got into buying them, and next thing you know, I have over 20 of them, and it's like, oh my god. But yeah, I got into the history, and I know a lot about certain military history and stuff. But Rad knows a lot more about U.S. military stuff than me. Although, to be truthful, I think I own more of Rad's models than he owns himself.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
he says that you know a lot about the Russian models. He
yeah,
keeps bringing up Russian models, and he adds you to it.
I have a tad bit. Let's see, Russian cars.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I have Russian trucks. I'm not quite sure if you can see it there, but I have a few of them. But yeah, I mean it's kind of hard to find info on them because the language barrier and stuff like that. But it's easy to find prototype pics usually for the most part. But yeah,
Yeah, I told him that I'm going to have you on soon. And he said he was going to reach out to you before you came on, and you were going to do the whole interview in your great Russian accent you have. He said, well, I don't know when I'm having him on, so you better get to it quick, because it could be tomorrow, it could be a week, it could be a month. I don't know.
I can't quite pull that off. But
That's cool. So what is it about, besides the fact, I guess, they're 6x6s? What is it that you like about those models
um,
or
I don't know.
vehicles?
It's an interesting point in U.S. history and Cold War history. The Cold War just fascinates me. I think for a lot of people, what happened before their life kind of fascinates them because they didn't live it. Like for me, I was born in the 2000s, and I didn't get to experience that era. I know a lot of people who, like my friend who has a model railroad layout, it's based like 10 years before he was born. I'm not sure if it just fascinates people or what, but that's what it is for me, I think.
I think you're partially right, because if you talk to some of our older model builders, they will tell you their fascination and passion is to build when their youth was. So their youth being teenage years to young adult years. Like, say, Mike Buddy, his is like 1970 to 78 or something. And I was talking to, who was I talking to? Oh, no, I think Junior Berg. I think he was saying his fascination is between 65 and 75. Um, and that was, I'm guessing, when he was a teenager. Um, so my passion is like 50s cars, 50s and 60s. I love those classic cars of the classic car world. Way before I was born. But that's what I like. But I do like today's cars too, if they're custom, done right, and make them look cool. So I do think you're definitely halfway right on the fascination before you were born, but then the other half seems to just want to build, I guess, when their youth was,
Yeah.
which is also a little weird too, because it's it's weird. I think that we have a fascination before we were born, like that time period, because it's not our youth compared to the older generation that wants to build their youth or something. I don't know. I've
I
never
don't even
found
know my.
out why. Yeah, it's weird. But like my cars, I build the 1950s and 60s, but I make them look like you just passed a car show on the way to the trade show we're going to now or something, you know? You're like, "Oh, look at that. I just saw that on the way over here. How cool is that?" Um, but I take those old cars to make them look like today, when some people just take those old cars and period correct them to the day they were out, you know, which
Yeah,
is
like Mike weathers them up, and so they look like they just came out. Or you make
right,
them nice
right.
and clean.
Yeah, like him and John Tyson, I think are the leaders or two of some of the leaders of the period correct and most detailed and factory looking and realistic of the model building of that time area that that car is from.
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool. Um, so you built yourself a, if I get it right, a year ago or two, a rat rod Jeep.
Yes, yes, I have that. I can bring it on if you want. But
No, just tell us. You don't have to. Just tell us about it. Why did you build it, and what was it that I guess you liked about it? I
so
mean, everybody knows what I like, and it's the rat rods.
I took this kit here. It's the Roco Jeep, and
Okay.
what I did to it was I think I kind of made it like it was kind of like a rat rod gasser. So raise the front
Right.
suspension and
Yeah.
everything. I think I just wanted to try something different because I built a lot of various uh, how would I describe them? Municipality vehicles like fire trucks and a snowplow and stuff like that. But I think I wanted to try cars and or hot rods in general, and I just wanted to see how that would turn out. Overall, I like it. It's not like one of my favorites per se, but I think it's came out pretty good.
I think it came out great. In fact, I liked yours better than mine, and that was the only Jeep I've ever built. Was the one I gave you at this year's show. Um, and as much as I like that Jeep, I don't like it as much as I liked yours. I think yours is really, really cool. And it does have that gasser rat rod look, which I don't think anybody's built a gasser looking Jeep, like an army Jeep, before. They built it into rat rods, and I've seen plenty of pictures of it, and that's kind of what I based mine off of. But a rat rod gasser, I don't think I've ever seen. So I think you did awesome on that.
Louis.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
That's where I got the Jeep from. My Jeep was from
I'm
him.
not sure if he was the one who casted that. I think that I'm not sure if that's a casting off mine or someone else's that just had a one of those Jeeps, but he makes a lot of the uh, nice models, and he I think sent me a picture originally of uh, I'm not sure if it was a Gasser Jeep or a Gasser. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I'm not sure if it was a Gasser Jeep or a Gasser Army Jeep, but he gave me the inspiration for that. I think,
Hmm,
and then I took it and built it from there. So I think
that's
that
awesome.
frame on that one. I'm not sure if it's this one or one he made, but
That's cool. I haven't seen that. And but I wasn't looking up on the internet Gasser Jeeps neither. I was just kind of looking up Gasser Rat Rod. No, Rat Rod Jeeps. That's what I was looking up. And that's literally, there was one on there that seems to have popped up a lot in my search that I really based the one I gave you off of.
did you see
Yeah.
the that I'm not sure if it was. I think it was on your building competition a while ago. I forget exactly what the build goal was. I do apologize. But he made a John Deere one that kind of looked like yours. Do you remember that?
A John Deere Jeep?
It was painted in John Deere colors. It was like yellow and green, but it was a Jeep. Yeah.
Maybe I remember that. I dang, I want to say I do remember something like that, but I can't place it.
Hey, I opened the fridge and I'm like, what did I come here for? So I don't blame you. But
Right. Yeah, no,
but
my
yeah,
my memory is horrible. Like the other night, I was talking to Rad, and I literally screwed up Robert Kelly's name like 4 times. I knew the last name, I couldn't remember the first name, and I feel really bad because my editing skills are nilch. So what's ended up on that recording is what's gonna get aired on YouTube. So he's gonna see that and go, "I just talked to you. What the heck?"
if my school didn't, take the school computer, I would have had Premiere Pro, but sadly I don't have the capabilities anymore.
Right. Yeah, no, but that's cool, man. I'm really glad to see young people in the hobby like yourself. Um, I know my daughter built that bus I showed earlier, and she built one of Sylvan's junkyard scenes that had like 5 cars on it, all molded as one big piece, and we painted and detailed that up, and she liked that. So I'm hoping that maybe out of my 2 kids, that she might continue building. I don't know. We'll see what happens. She's only 12 going on 13, so she's still young enough to not be interested in it at all or slowly still get into it.
I
I don't
mean,
know, but it's cool to see younger people get into it because that brings new life into the hobby.
that's how old I was when I got in. So I mean, it's a perfect age to start them, but don't force them. Uh,
Oh, no,
like
definitely not.
like I was saying before, a lot join as adults. I think there are a lot of kids my age and younger in the train world. So I assume that will kind of bleed over eventually into the car world. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's pretty good for the hobby. It is still keeping up with the youth.
Right, yeah, no, there definitely is more kids into the train side of this hobby than the car, just the vehicle side. And I know on the West Coast, because that's where I'm from, model car shows are much more popular than they are on the West or the East Coast. So somewhere within Southern California, there is a model car show every week to every other week within 200 miles. Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's
along
great.
with along with regular car shows for classic, modern, import, whatever. Within 200 miles, there's a car show every single weekend somewhere in Southern California. So with that influence of being so heavy out there with cars, I know the model car scene has a lot more younger people into it, um, which I hope that they will see the value or their virtue into smaller model cars like what we're building. Although I don't know, most people don't even know our little hobby exists. So the best thing I think is just to get those cars out there to regular model car shows to show them, hey, this can be done with something smaller, and these cars do exist. And I think you being in a regular model car club, I think that definitely helps. So I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Funny thing, I've gone to the bigger shows. Not bigger, but like a bigger as in scale, like 125th scale shows, and entered some of my models. And I'm
Right.
surprised. Usually they come in first place because there's not a single other model entry in that place. But
Right.
I'll take it. But I have had like one or two that's beat a few other people in that class, even though it was 1/8 the size. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally know what you mean because that's exactly what I do. I'll bring my regular size model cars to a car show and then or a model show, and then I'll bring the little ones. And a lot of times it's the only one. Other times there's like 1/32nd scale cars, or not really 1/64 scale, but there might be one or two that somebody just painted up. And I've won every time I've taken any of my little cars to a show, whether it be third place or first place, but I've won at least some kind of place um, with those cars. And it's pretty gratifying just for the fact that they're recognizing it to be good enough to win. So that's neat.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. On the club that we have, our club, we have a show and tell section. So everybody brings in a show and tell model each time, and each time the dudes are like, "How did you build it that small? I can't see it."
That's the number one comment is how did you do it? Because I can't even see it.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And I
I'm
get a
hoping.
lot of,
Like,
yeah, I get a lot of, how'd you build that? You must have used a magnifying glass or a microscope, or you must have bifocals or something. And sadly, I don't, or maybe it's not sad, but I don't as of yet, but I know here soon I probably will. So until that happens, I'm just going to keep on trucking.
I have glasses myself, but personally, I take them off to build models. Well, it's because I'm long distance, but I for right now, and I'm gonna hope I'm not jinxing myself. I can see the models currently.
Right, right. Yeah. It's funny. So check this out. I moved out to North Carolina 13 years ago, and I had to get my license out here. And you didn't have to do the driving side. You just had to do the visual side, so to know all the street signs and whatnot. And they give you like you're putting on some 3D glasses kind of thing, and you're looking into this machine that has just the outline of each sign without the actual indications of what they are printed on the inside. And there was 3 columns, and these 2 columns were blurry. And so I instantly looked back and took my shirt and rubbed the screen, and this the lady was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "The outside of these bifocals or whatever I'm wearing are blurry. I'm just cleaning them off." She goes, "No, they're not." And I said, "No, they are." And she goes, "No, you're having problems on the side of your eyes that make everything blurry." And I'm like, "What? I've got perfect 20/20 vision." She goes, "No, you don't." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm getting old." But
Uh,
it's funny though, because that doesn't bother my building skills. I can still see what I need to, even though I can't see clear on the sides. But who needs to see that stuff?
yeah, yeah, you're building what's in front of you. You know,
Right,
you never build
exactly.
a model off to the side.
Yeah, yeah. It struck me as so weird that I guess it's blurry for me, but unless you did that test, you probably just wouldn't know because it's just normal not to be able to focus 100% on this side when you're looking straight. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know who could tell you, like, writing that would be on this side of your face and clearly see each letter. Like, who can do that? I didn't even know that was a thing. Maybe it is. Right. Yeah, but if you're just building what's right in front of you, you should be fine.
yeah. No, I know I'm getting a little back to you again, but the movie cars you build, I know that's a main interest for you. And for me, I have a few movie/video game cars. Like I told you before about the GTA one, and I'm gonna be working on one from PUBG. You've probably heard of that game, right? Players
I've
Unknown
heard of
Battleground.
it. I don't know what it is. I have
Oh,
heard of it.
it's a video game. But anyways, it's kind of you know what Fortnite is?
Yeah,
Okay,
unfortunately.
everybody plays that. It's like Fortnite. You know, everybody drops from a plane, but it's more realistic. It's
Oh, okay.
yeah. But I'm gonna try to build the Jeep from that game. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, and I already have the car from that game, and because they make a pre-made one, and then I might make the dune buggy. But yeah,
Yeah, well, I built that 57 Chevy from the GTA game, and I built that just because I had a 57 Chevy left over, and I think that's like the coolest looking car in GTA. It's definitely not the coolest performing car, but looking wise, it's the coolest car in my opinion. And so I knew I had to try to build that one day. And yeah, it came out pretty good, I think. But
yeah.
yeah,
I know you had to
I
go reboot the engine, but I think it looks good now.
yeah. Well, yeah, I can't wait till you get those finished. That way you can post them, and maybe we'll come back again once those are done and we can talk about those.
Talk
But
about what?
yeah, um, your
Oh, those. Yeah, gotcha.
your your video game cars. So here's another question. Do you plan or even think about building anything movie TV wise in the future in
Hmm.
this scale? You have any
Uh,
interest in doing that?
moving to TV wise, I have interest in it, but I'm not quite sure where I'd start. I need to start watching movies again. I really haven't watched movies in quite a long time.
That's because they're all crap. Don't watch anything new, only watch the old ones.
Yeah, and especially the fact that the school took my computer, and that's what I used because it was the school's computer. So they, when the school year's over, we have to give it back. So now I can no longer watch the pirated movies. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, too cheap. But a lot of them you can't find on Netflix anymore, which kind of sucks. But I do in the future hope to build some that are movie related. I mean, I've certainly got some movie related projects that are in my mix of unfinished projects that I haven't finished yet. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna do some in the future. I have the. Let me just pull it out for you real quick. If I can find the bin. Might take 1 minute, but let me just grab something for you, Sam. I'll show it to you. Do you know what these decals are from?
Is that the A-Team van?
No, not quite. It's Polly Hollins from the Convoy movie. Remember that back
Oh,
in 70
see, I
something?
wouldn't know that because I'm not a big rig guy, but they did look. It was either that truck or the 18 van.
No problem. I completely understand. Personally, actually don't think the movie was that good myself. I just like the trucks in it. But
That is so funny you say that because I was just talking to Rad and we were talking about that Convoy movie. And I mentioned to him I'd never seen the movie because I'm not a big rig fan. So,
there's part of the cab, but
oh,
that
that's
is a way
cool.
to go. That one I haven't worked on in 3 years. It's just been sitting in there, rotting away.
Well,
But
hey, at least you have like the starting base for it. You have the decals and you have the cab. So at least you're not starting from scratch and it's just an idea in your head and you're like, oh, someday I'll get to it.
yeah,
So at least you have got to it and you're, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way there, maybe less. I don't know. But at least you've started.
yeah. One thing I can't do, which is for some odd reason, I can build any car, I can build any truck, but I can't build big rigs. When I build them, they just don't look right. I'm not quite sure what it is, but
That's funny you say that because when I build a big rig, it never looks right. It looks like a custom show truck that you're not supposed to drive.
well, custom food trucks are cool, and there's a realistic basis for that. But I'm not sure what it is. I just must paint it some odd way, and it just in my mind it doesn't click. But hopefully, eventually, I'll get the click, you might say, to it. But people like if you got the show, like, why am I having trouble thinking of his name? Uh, but there's a fellow who was next to me at the show last year, and he built these really nice looking trucks. I
Oh
know he
yeah,
got it.
yeah. I remember who that was. I just don't remember his name either.
Gary Smith. There we go.
Very good.
Uh, but I just myself, they don't look right when I build them. I'm not sure why.
Well, that's funny you say that because I don't try to build anything stock. And if you're going to build a big rig, say a special kind of big, say that one from Convoy, that's a stock truck with maybe a somewhat custom graphic paint job, maybe, unless the factory made that. I don't know. But either way, you're going to build it that stock way. The cab's going to be stock. You're going to try to put the stock mirrors on, stock wheels and whatnot, and maybe a graphic paint job. But other than that, it's stock. So I I can build it stock. It just anything in my head and everything in my head says don't. Why? It's boring. Who cares? Make it something different that nobody's ever seen. That's all I ever hear in my head. And that's why I build what I build because everybody can just build something that looks like you've seen it a billion times. But unless you make it different, I don't see, like for me, I don't want to build it then.
Yeah, I get a problem with like history vehicles because I want them to like look accurate. Like this, I built this to look accurate. It's the correct, everything's to the correct dimensions and all. But when it comes to like putting stuff on the truck, I'm like, that's not realistic. But I kind of want it anyways. You know what I mean? So why should
Yeah,
I all this depth of research if I'm gonna change it anyways? But
right.
there's
Well,
I say build a model on it.
if you remember on the Rat Rod and movie 187 group that I made, we did a Mad Max theme build off, and I built a big rig that had four supercharged blowers on the engine, on top of you couldn't even see the engine because the blowers were so big. And I looked at that thing like, there's just no way. It's not real, but it looks cool.
Yeah, this is what I did for. Yeah, I never got to finish it. I'm sorry. I do apologize.
Is that a
I
helicopter?
No, it's a little
Oh.
Mitsubishi Bongo truck with a couple guns on it and stuff. It's weird.
Oh.
I just never got to finish it, sadly, because life's busy and all. But
Yeah.
eh,
Time
hopefully,
sucks. That's so
hopefully
funny
one day.
because I have that same truck or
It is
close
the
to it.
exact same one.
Yeah.
Does that have the back of the cab?
This had a camper on it that I picked up for $1 at a train shop. That had a
Nice.
camper that I turned the front of this VW. I chopped the VW off and put the camper on the back of the cab of the VW. And so now I kind of have like a Mitsubishi VW combo idea, but I doubt I'm gonna ever do anything with that. I don't
You
know.
thought
It
I'm not sure
it
what you
looks
did with
like
the front of that van, but have you seen the picture of the VW bus and the Volkswagen Beetle that are kind of together?
yeah.
Do that.
There's so many VW models, projects, ideas out there. They're unbelievable. There's one that somebody took the cab, the front half of the VW like this, and then they took like it's not a step side, but it's like the utility bus version where it doesn't have a back, it just has like a bed. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
took that bed and then they took another bus, chopped it off from the front doors down,
Oh, and they made
and
a
used
tractor
that.
trailer.
Yeah, and it like yeah, that I would love to build that. I think that'd be awesome and use a 21 window van.
You should. You should. I know Burkina used to make a set of like 4 vans, but they're so nice. The Burkina ones. I mean, you might as well just go with the uh, what are
Yeah,
the Fresh Cherries black ones called? The black
I
Fresh Cherries are
I don't
street,
know,
no,
but
Malibu ones. You know what I mean?
this one was a Malibu, and I don't think this is 21 window, but I think this is a 19 window. I don't know. The top little windows don't go all the way to the back like the 21 does. But yeah, I'll probably take this and just chop off where the doors are, and then I don't know. We'll figure something
And
out. But yeah,
that's the shooting scene at the mall.
the Back to the Future scene. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I had some people let me know right away that that's the wrong van. I knew it was the wrong van. That's an older van. I need an 80s van. I guess they call it a bay window. And they
Now
do make one. I
you
think
just need an
Rico.
audience like me that doesn't know what it is.
Well, most people just looked at it. I mean, it's the right color. It's white on top, blue on bottom. And they all looked at it and like, oh, that's it. You captured the scene. How perfect is that? So, I mean, most people think it looks good either way. So, but yeah, I'm pretty, I'm kind of the way you are with detail, with accuracy. Like that steam engine. I took clips and watched it over and over again, YouTube clips of where Doc and Marty capture the steam engine. And I played it over and over and over again to look at every little detail of that steam engine from the movie and try to capture it on that. And that's another reason why I made it a dummy engine, because I didn't care about the actual moving engine to power it, because it's going to go away with the interior of the cab. But I wanted to make it as accurate as I possibly could. And I looked online at HO scale replicas of that engine. Nobody's made it as detailed or as perfect to the movie one as they probably could have if they did a little bit more research or tried to.
Sometimes I feel like I spend more time on Google Images trying to find the pictures of the model than I actually do building it. But that steam
Right.
engine are nice.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm pretty happy for it. And in my opinion, it's because my attention to detail on certain things is like an OCD thing. I feel, and I could be wrong, and viewers of this could disagree, but I feel it's the most detailed engine replica of that, only because of the different color blacks I put in it and where the faded black is compared to the shiny black. and vice versa.
Oh wow, that
Um,
takes a lot of effort because like when I build my models, it's kind of like I hope the color's right. I don't really care about the finish. I know I really should care more about the finish. It's kind of like one problem I had was I accidentally matte coated a window by accident. Oops. But yeah, to get that that shine and that matte right on an engine, that takes a lot of time. You know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I have time, so it's not like I was worried about time. I still built that in record time, but it's like I'll gather a whole bunch of parts together from eBay or wherever, and then I'll start the car. So once I have mostly everything I need or everything, then I'll start it and I'll just pump them out real quick. Unlike starting it, not having everything you need, and then waiting until you have that certain part or that certain thing, and then building it then, and then you found out you were missing something else and you put it back. I gather everything I can, and then I just execute it all at once because I don't want to wait and let it sit forever, because then in my mind I just probably won't get back to it. I'll
yeah,
just
you
leave
lose
it and
motivation.
start something else.
Motivation is the number one problem I have in this hobby. A lot of people complain about price, but in reality, I'm complaining about motivation. Some days I just can't, you can't work on a model. It sucks. I'd love to just be able to get it done there and then, but you know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
don't know. I have no idea what you mean. You see how many cars I pump out?
Oh man,
um,
yeah,
so
you get a lot of
honestly,
motivation. That's impressive.
I haven't built anything in about 2 weeks, model related. Well, no, 187 scale related. I, I got kind of a hiccup with my model garage because the walls are black on the inside and the lights I used um, aren't bright enough to really illuminate the inside of the building. And so I was discouraged because of that. I went out and got more lights, and then because I was so discouraged and I had to wait a week until I got off of work, um, like my weekend came, I just decided while I was working to start something else. And so I started a 125th scale car, and now I'm kind of stuck on that, which I probably just shouldn't have started because I want to finish that now. I have everything I need for it, but I want to finish it, and it's just driving me crazy that because it's much bigger, it requires a lot more detail that I'm going to actually put into it. It just takes longer.
The nice thing about bigger scales is, especially 125th scales, when you spray paint in the car, you don't have you use you use the bottle more efficiently. With HO scale, you go through the bottles like that, and that, just because you know. Well, I'm not sure if you use spray paint, but the spray paint,
No,
there's
I
no
do.
certain grab.
Right. I'm not going to lie. I use less spray paint with the little cars because they're little. Um, the bigger cars, like I took a 63 Impala body of 125th scale, and I dumped half a bottle, which is about this big, and
Tamiya
about
or testers?
no,
I'm curious.
it was actually from Michael's. It was
Oh,
just glitter spray paint. A half a bottle of glitter metal flake onto that car because I wanted as much flake as I could, and it already sprayed out super thick as it was. So I waited for it to dry, then sprayed another coat. I waited for it to dry, sprayed another coat. I put half of that glitter bottle onto that car, and then I dumped half a bottle of clear onto the car because glitter doesn't just lay flat; it lays grainy. So
oh,
in order to make it smooth, you put as much clear on it and then start sanding down, hoping that you don't burn through the clear.
gotcha.
Um, I couldn't get it smooth enough, and it made me so mad. So I ended up just stripping the whole car, and I just wasted pretty much a full bottle of paint on that one car, which I wouldn't have done if it was
Yeah, I've gone through like a
multiple.
bottle this size. I've gone through a bottle this size on one HO scale vehicle, and that's plus
No,
primer. So add the
wow,
primer in there. It's probably like a can and a half. It's
dude, that's
that
crazy.
you'd think that a smaller model needs less paint, but
You
it's
would
yeah.
think that. I'm gonna
I
need
don't
you.
know. Maybe
I'm
I'm just
gonna
bad at
need to
painting.
teach you how to conserve that bottle or something. But the cool thing is, though, you being a good modeler that you are, you can do spray paint because most people that are really good have already graduated from spray painting and went straight to airbrush and won't ever go back to spray painting. I've been doing this hobby for 30 years and I still spray paint. I don't want to even go with a airbrush because it's not that I don't want to, it's that it's more work and I already build too quick as it is. So if I have to clean the airbrush every time I'm trying to use a new color, just forget it. It's taking too long. Right. I'll just use a spray can, which I have like 40 bottles in my garage of all different colors.
Yeah, I just can't. Personally, myself, I think it would just take too much time to buy an airbrush, set it up when I already have like 20 spray paint cans in front of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But,
Well, on top of that too, which I doubt you use, but to get my candy colors on a lot of my custom cars, I just go straight from a bottle of nail polish. Straight. I don't dilute it. I don't do nothing. I take the brush that comes with the nail polish and I just start painting over it. Now I will primer the car first, so I like a base coat basically to get the color certain light or dark. But I just go straight over it and don't
yeah,
dilute it or
colors that way.
nothing.
Interesting
Right.
colors.
Yeah, and well, when you're doing a lowrider or a custom, that's exactly the look you're going for, is a wild, unique kind of color. And nail polish is perfect size for metal flake. If you get a nail polish with a metal flake, they don't make, I don't think any other paint company or type of paint uses a crushed metal flake anywhere smaller than that. So it's like perfect for good 187 scale metal flake. Not that you need to know this, but if you choose to build a custom candy painted car in the future, nail polish is a good trick.
Sure, sure. I'll try to tell the cashier that.
Yeah, it is weird when you're going to like the dollar store or just the supermarket or just the regular like Walmart or something, and you're a guy looking at nail polishes. But you know what? You got to build that confidence somehow.
Yeah, yeah. Go for it, you know?
So that's cool, Tom. I'm glad that I met you at the last show in Springfield. I'm glad I'll be seeing you in upcoming shows in Springfield, and I'm glad that you're young and into this hobby. Um, Real quick though, before we get off the subject of models and kind of end this, you were you said in the beginning you were into trains. Are you still into trains?
Uh, I used to really be into it. Now they're kind of, I'll be truthful, they've been in my closet underneath my clothes for like 3 years maybe. So sadly, I've kind of gotten out of it. But I'm still into like HO scale in general. I've built a lot of dioramas, or I shouldn't say that. I should say I've never completed a diorama because I'm very lazy. I should say that they're all still in the process of being built. But I'm still interested in the hobby. I'm still going to keep the trains. I just probably won't have a layout for quite a long time. But eventually I'll get there.
Yeah, I was talking to I don't know if it was Robert Kelly or if I was talking to Junior or I was talking to somebody and I was saying that I used to be in trains too. When I was young, like in my childhood, I was really into trains. Although I never had a train set, I just loved them. And my dad would take me to the hobby shows that would come around our town or whatnot, and we would go and see all the train clubs set up their trains. And I always loved building a miniature scene or a miniature city that moved. And at the time, the only thing that moved was the train itself. But the fact that even that moved and it wasn't just going to a model car show where everything is just sitting on the table, not moving at all, and you're just there to look at them. This had a story that it was being told, which I always found fascinating. And I found right when I started this that Chester, I think his last name is Fleming or something, Chester. Um,
My,
yeah, he was part of the Route 187 scale club, and several of the other people in our 187 scale group was, and they were slowly, barely kind of posting pictures of, cars that they just built on it. And I was very interested in, it's not a train set, but it's still it's a car set basically.
Yeah.
It's a diorama for your cars, and I really got into knowing as much as I could about that, and I love it. I feel like I'll never have a train set, but if I could line the wall of my room full of modules, like movable modules I could take to shows or whatnot, that would be my equivalent to a train set.
Like you said earlier, you can really tell a story based on the models, which I think is great in the small scale. Or 1/25th scale, you can still do that, but there's no place for a diorama of that same size. You know what I mean?
Right. No, you're exactly right. I did see I'm part of a lot of 1/25th scale model groups on Facebook, and there's a couple people dedicated to now building full-on diorama like parking lots for car shows, so it mimics a real car show in that scale, and streets with building fronts on it. So they just build a building front but don't have anything on the back, kind of like a Hollywood backlot or something. And their thing is to build a huge street. So they take like an 8 by, what size is a regular table? 8 by 3
8x4.
table, fold out table. They take that whole table and that's the street, and then they add like maybe another half a foot onto it for the building front and the sidewalk. And you think that could easily hold maybe 50 to 70 cars on that size of a table. But if you build it in a much smaller scale, like me, I can fit like 400 cars on that same
Oh yeah,
size table.
that's Springfield for you.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Do you know the NNL East?
I do know of it. I haven't been to it, but I know all about it.
There
I
is
know
a
it's canceled.
yeah. Oh, sadly, there's one of the people in our club. He built a great 1/25th scale diorama that I think won like best in class or something there.
Oh,
But it's
wow.
you can tell a story in that scale. I'm not saying you can't, but it's an impressive model. It's huge though. But
Yeah. And to think about, like, say, our scale, say you have 100 cars that you can easily take in as one diorama. You put all those cars to set them on this nice, super awesome looking display that you made. And it may only be, say, like my movie set is a 4x2, 4x2 size piece of wood that everything is sitting on. And I'm planning on doing this, if I build just a parking lot for a modern day car show scene, which I'm going to do eventually, I can fit over 100 cars in that parking lot, and all of those will fit on that little 4x2 piece of wood compared to putting 100 cars on an 8x3 fold out table.
yeah, definitely. I 100% agree.
So I think if I kind of wish, even though it's the detail wouldn't be there in the amount of products available for it isn't there, but I wish more people would be into this scale hobby.
Definitely.
Like in the 1/25th world, being in that club, you can probably and easily find almost anything you're looking for. This, you have to either make it or they just don't offer it and it's too small to make anyways.
I'll give the 187 scale some credit though. I cannot find a single modern Ford Crown Victoria in 1/25th scale. Nowhere, nowhere. But in
Mad
HS,
About Cars isn't offering it?
three producers. Say it again.
Mad About Cars on Shapeways doesn't offer that? He's the only
Sorry.
one I know of.
I might have said that the wrong way around. I apologize. 1/25th scale doesn't offer that set,
Oh,
which is
1/25th. You
weird.
might have actually said that and I just didn't hear it at all. Modern day Ford Victoria.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
weird. I'd say modern day is, and they stopped producing them in 2011, but 2012 technically, but still. But you can find Model Power makes one, Highway Miniatures makes
that's
one.
that's what they use for the cop cars, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Back in that time frame.
But they only have a 92 in 1/25th scale.
No, you know what? You're 100% correct. That is so weird.
I mean,
You
you
would
think that,
think that they would have made that.
yeah, I mean, it's the classic American police car for the
It really is.
last couple
That's
of years.
so weird.
Yeah,
You
sorry. Yeah, get off topic.
did you ever see a movie called In Time with Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried?
I can't,
Um,
I don't think I have.
I'll give you a real quick little gist. Basically, their whole life is based off of a digital reader on their wrist that tells them how many hours they have left to live. And in the ghetto or poor areas, they usually only have days because you get paid with time.
Oh, and then the cops can find them, and it takes away their time.
Yes,
I've
exactly. Or if you go
seen
buy
like,
something like Justin Timberlake bought this rare like Jaguar and they said it's going to be like 53 years. And he said, just take it because he's got the time off of some old guy that was dying that was like super rich and rich as in time. Either way, the point of the movie was, or the point of this subject is, they took these like 67 or 68 Dodge Chargers and they reproduced a mass quantity of them and they used those as their cop cars. So they're all flat black and they're all shaved down. So no door handles, no insignias anywhere of the car. And they made them like custom street rods for police cars.
I'll
And
have to see.
then their passenger vehicles, they were all stretched Lincoln Continentals from the 60s. So it's like a limo version of a Lincoln Continental. And I can't for the life of me figure out why that car, those two cars, aren't more popular because as of today's movies, those are some of the coolest looking custom cars in a movie today because movies just suck for cars, which I've mentioned in other podcasts. But those two cars are super cool.
Wasn't the '68 Charger in Dukes of Hazzard? Or am I thinking of
Um,
the car?
yes. And I could be actually talking about a different car in this movie. I think maybe it was a Challenger or something. It was
Oh,
smaller.
okay.
It wasn't as big as the Charger. So I think I'm probably talking about a Challenger or I'm talking, I don't know muscle cars. Even though I'm a huge classic car guy, muscle cars kind of evade me. It's a time period that is after the time period I like.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So I don't know them like I probably should, but yeah, it's a smaller two-door version of the Charger, which I think is just Challenger. Either way, they
I'll
were
go with
really
it. I personally
cool.
don't know myself.
Yeah, they were really cool looking cars. And to this day, like they don't, no toy company makes the movie cars. No model car company makes the movie cars. It's like those cars just disappeared in movie time.
Yeah.
They suck
Sadly.
because I like those cars.
Yeah, well, we all hope to find stuff like that. It's kind of the rare stuff that once in a while gets produced. But
Right. Well, like RoboCop, cop car, they make that. Model car companies make that model car. Is the
oh,
RoboCop car? You're thinking why? That's not even that's not even the focal point of the movie. This the robot and like the big huge robot that has the big guns or whatever. The car is nothing in that movie, but they make that as a model car. Makes you wonder sometimes.
yeah, we're not getting any of the JDM stuff like Fast and the Furious and HO scale either. But
Well, they are trying. What somebody recently posted, was it the Supras from the
hey,
90s? Like
oh
the
yeah,
94 Supra?
Kato made a rare release of the Supra, but it's
Yeah,
the only small car they've made.
right. And they have that from the first Fast and Furious, which is cool. There is a guy on my movie car, TV car group that did the whole lineup of Fast and Furious cars.
Holy cow! Where did you find
And
them
he
all?
did it in HO 187 scale, which he had to modify existing cars to turn into other cars. But he, I saw him, I don't know where I saw him, either on a train group or something. And I told him, dude, I have this group that I think your cars would be perfect for. And I never really bothered to have him prove to me that those were HO 187 scale. But I posted his post, like I shared his original post of like the very first movie cars, and then he slowly posted the other ones. I said, hey, you got to join this group. You can share your own pictures. You can post them up and give us. And then just recently, one of the members in there asked if those were actual 187 scale because nobody makes half of the cars he built, or most of them. And he showed some build processes that he did of these cars, and they are 187 scale, which is amazing. And he did one of every single car from all of the movies.
That's impressive. That takes some time.
Yeah, and it's
Especially,
really cool. I think he's the only one that has those anywhere in the world. Although there's another guy from Europe or over the pond that built the charger from, I think, 87 RPM or RPM 87, built a charger from Fast and Furious. Dom's charger, which is pretty cool.
Those are nice kits, but I personally don't have any.
I don't. I had two of his. I built a Blazer for a customer, and then I got the 64 Impala from him, and that was the very first 64 Impala I ever built was from that company. They're very good kits. I like them a lot. But Tom,
Yeah,
kind of getting tired. Been
no
up way
problem.
too early today.
Been nice talking to you.
Yeah, definitely. And hey, I do plan on hitting you back up later on in this year. If it takes that long, hopefully it doesn't take that long. But to do like a follow-up, kind of like, hey, you know, this is where we were then, where are we at now? So I look forward to having you back on the show, and hopefully maybe you'll have other things finished or other things started, and we'll have other things to talk about as well. And, you know, we'll just talk 187 scale.
Yeah, I look forward to talking to you again too, man. It's been nice.
Awesome. All right, Tom. Well, I'm going to end this video. You can stay on if you want, and the Zoom won't end, but the video will end. So everybody out there watching, this is the end of this video. Guest was Tom Hart. Y'all have a good day. See you
It's been great
later.
to have you.